What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for October 16th, 2023. We're less than a week away from CitizenCon, so this week you would think would have been thin, but they dropped a massive bomb and sold a ship that wasn't supposed to be. And then everyone hates streamers. Surprise, surprise. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week and put it into one video while sharing some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, every day but Monday, so I can get this video out to you guys starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And with that, we do have a bit to get through this week since we do have a lot of CitizenCon news and other things. So let's jump into all the patches we had this week, actually. Now, we only had one patch for 320 this week, and they're calling it 320B. It happened very late Monday night. It was intended to happen a lot earlier, where they added the F8C Lightning to the game, which is sort of unprecedented because this ship is supposed to be like very powerful, a reward for Squadron 42, things like that. We'll talk more about that later. For core tech, I think this is actually really, really cool. They're giving community members and volunteers the opportunity to create their own translations for the game and basically add more languages. Just general localization. We had an ISC on localization, but this sounds like it'll make their lives a lot easier. More features. They're just touching more on ground vehicle tweaks, and then client crash recovery should be working correctly. I haven't had any issues with it, but yeah, maybe it's not working as well as it was later last week, basically. And then fixes are on the way for mining. Basically, mining is majorly affected by server performance. This should help with that. Then for Wednesday, we had a 321 PTU patch, and for features, they added monitor zones to the jump points. So basically, I really think it's what I feel is going on here, is they're slowly building out these areas in preparation for 4.0, which, yeah, I think it's going to be slowly built out. I don't think we're, approaching 4.0 anytime soon. We still have a lot of server meshing things that have to happen, right? But I do think the hype around them has kind of died a bit and has slowly shifted towards CitizenCon. Like, did anybody go check out if there was monitored zones? Who cares, right? Gameplay, more ground vehicle handling improvements, and then they adjusted the HP of the Gladius's nose from 20, which is really low, to 2,000. Found this out in the comments because they don't really say these things in the patch notes. Flight tune the P-72 and Starfighter decay change. I don't have any additional information on what that even means. I think they should give us more of a general idea on what these changes are. That we don't need exact numbers like the 20 to 2,000 necessarily. That's for the data miners, and I think that those guys have their value, significant value, but at the same time, just a general idea is good. And well, we get that general idea in the Thursday PTU patch notes, which is, it's weird. It basically is the Wednesday patch, but they gave that additional details, the details that we were looking for there. Kind of weird, but then they added the F8C to Arena Commander, and now Arena Commander is just the F8C. And just if this wasn't clear, this was a 321 PTU patch. Also Friday, a 321 PTU patch, and they updated the ballistic damage on FPS shotguns, and man, they needed it. I'm going to link it down below, but SteweyMyster, someone who is part of Detox's org, and makes content himself, streams as well, great guy, did a really nice video on kind of the changes that have been coming. It's not just been ballistic shotgun changes that have been happening on the 320 and 321 branches, so feel free to check that video out down below. And for bug fixes, take a look at the bottom there. There's been an issue for a while now with med pens, or with med beds, excuse me. There's plenty of issues still with med pens that need to be fixed, and it's been pretty annoying. That's now fixed. So you're not going to be like popping out of the bed or getting stuck in it or anything like that, and I can confirm that that's worked pretty well for me, and this one was specifically for the C8R, but there was other issues in other beds as well. Now, I think it's pretty clear that this patch is being nailed down for an around CitizenCon release to live. I don't expect a wipe, and honestly, I don't expect a ton of hype around it either. The most exciting ship was added earlier to 320, right? So they could have used that opportunity for some hype at CitizenCon, but didn't. I'm actually kind of surprised about that. Now that you think about it, how much more hype would it have been if they released the F8C at CitizenCon for people to play and stuff? That would have been crazy. Are you guys excited for the patch? I think a number of great quality of life fixes have come in, but they're still lacking like real features to sink your teeth into. So let me know down in the comments below how you guys feel about all that. Now, we finally have some valuable CitizenCon information. They released the schedule for the panels. They have start times, but they don't have end times. But what we do know is that there will be gaps between each panel. So the start times will definitely have some gaps in those end times, right? So the reason for that is that people will be at the venue, and they want them to be able to enjoy the venue itself. The focus is at CitizenCon, not necessarily for the people at home. Now, myself and Levelcap will be covering all of these panels from home. We'll be live on Twitch on my channel. We'll be live on YouTube on his channel. And we're also going to hopefully have some people calling in from the event itself so you guys can see the event floor and everything. So we should have comprehensive coverage of CitizenCon. So get subscribed to Levelcap's channel and make sure you follow my Twitch channel. Links will be down in the description below. But everybody knows the official channel is going to be filled with trolls and you're not going to be able to converse with anybody. I think my Twitch channel and Level's channel are probably going to be pretty busy, but that doesn't mean we won't be able to have good conversations around this. The show's going to be more answer the call style, so you'll be able to call in and share your opinions about what's going on in between panels as well. But let's jump into what the panels are. And the first one is Shaping the Verse, the future of Star Engine. Now, this panel is the one I am the least excited for with everything that UE5 is doing. And, well, the fact that it's been named Star Engine, which you know, it really hasn't been named Star Engine until recently, again, for the second time. I don't know. For me, if they don't have something like a playable server meshing demo at the actual event for the convention goers, I'm not sure this thing will blow anyone's mind. It'll probably be very art-focused and just classic Star Citizen stuff. Now, Fix It and Fly It, this is the one I'm most excited for, I think, specifically because they said, well, engineering in action. We saw a really over-the-top fake look on ISC of what this might be like, but this should be the real deal. There's also a chance that we'll see a mission where you fix a soft test ship, maybe your own ship. We know something like this was talked about in monthly reports in the past. This could be for CitizenCon. Who knows? It might be for like a demo later on in the show as well. They then have a cosplay contest and a long lunch break where our coverage will probably turn to some people at the event and letting us see what's going on there. Then talking ship. 2953. We're here in 2953. Who would have thunk it? Nothing new here. We know there will be new ships, maybe some new concepts, and if CIG is as shameless as they've been this week, they'll draw just like a big, seemingly overpowered capital ship, and it will be sold out in minutes. I don't know about the capital ship thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Then navigating the universe. This sounds way more exciting than what it might end up being, but the expectation here is to see the updated star map. So I hope we see an update to Quantum Boost as well, which we saw at last year's CitizenCon demo, basically, but that was with developer UI, so actually seeing the real UI would be nice. I will also add some completely wild speculation here, but I do believe that Game Horizon helped out with the star map, and they are also helping out with the quantum economy. Do we see a bit of that here? Now, I very much doubt it, but a man can dream, okay? A man can dream. Leave me alone. I can hear you typing in the comments, all right? And there's some speculation that they'll share Squadron 42 details at the end of day one because there's such a huge gap, but they've said that it's just a typo, that space is there. I don't know if I buy it, but whatever. Then that ends day one. Second day, they start out with character advancement. This is going to be a look at an updated, hopefully completely new character creator and more diverse character hair. You know, there's probably some criminal faction stuff that we've heard a lot about in the monthly report as well. Then life in first person is the panel that I'm probably the second most hyped for. Not for AI behaviors or anything like that. We know those won't work in the PU, but more things like weapon handling and maybe more tools to make the FPS experience much better than what we have now, because it's the clunkiest part of the game, in my opinion, at this time, right? Then taking flight, this should be a continuation from last year. My expectations are very low. That the only big thing that I expect is control surfaces, and then rehashing a lot of last year's stuff that still isn't really in our hands. Or barely with some Master Modes tests on Arena Commander, which I don't think that was actually planned. I thought that was just a good job by the Arena Commander feature team, right? Then Living on the Edge, this is the Pyro art panel. So I expect to see no gameplay here. I'm just hoping that we'll see maybe like a solar flare, because that is sort of gameplay related for Pyro, right? So maybe something that we see there. Then Destination Adventure. This feels like their demo mission, kind of going down to a big underground facility. How faked will this one be in comparison to other CitizenCons? For me, I hope it really translates more into a playable experience like the 2018 demo did with the Clovis Darneely stuff. So we know the mission feature team is helping out with CitizenCon. It could be for Destination Adventure. It could be for the Fix It and Fly It section. We don't know, but we do know there should be some mission stuff here. Who knows exactly how much they're helping, but we saw in the monthly report that they would. Then they have a closing ceremony. A lot of people are speculating this is where we will see Squadron 42 news. They have to show it somewhere because we know that they're going to be talking about Squadron 42. More on that in other updates. And then, as always, we start out with a sneak peek, and this one looks like the Santokii, but the red is really throwing me off. What do you guys think it is? Leave your guesses down below in the comments. Then we had the F8C event, and CIG dropped an absolute bomb this week with this event. They're basically putting golden tickets on every loot table, and these golden tickets are incredibly easy to find. Now, they allow you to rent the F8C, a massively powerful fighter, for 24 hours. I think this is pretty cool, actually, like giving people the opportunity to check it out, but maybe not use it would have been where I would have stopped. But it also gives you the ability to buy it for $260 war bond and $300 if you use any store credit. Now, to me, this isn't the event. It's a sale, right? And they're selling a ship that was meant to be a gift for people completing Squadron 42. But the thing that really kind of bothers me, it was also a celebration of them finishing Squadron 42, right? So they hopefully will do more of that when they actually do release it, if they do at all. The event is actually for the platinum tickets, I believe, and they will be spawned in by CIG developers, and when they do, a mission will pop up called Running the Gauntlet. Whoever has the ticket has a marker on them. Turn in that ticket at a ship shop on a planet, at a city on a planet, and then you will get the ship permanently for free. Like, really cool, actually awesome. Again, Running the Gauntlet is in the priority tab, so check that out. It'll be on your general tab as well. The only issue is they aren't giving out that many tickets, and servers are just limited to 100 players. So these servers fill up the moment anybody knows the mission is going on, and your average player just doesn't have a shot at getting in a server like this. So when in reality, they do have a shot if they're able to get in the server. So players are getting really upset at live streamers because they know a bunch of people and there's a lot of people on their friends list, and they're able to bounce between servers a lot easier than your average player does. So it feels like a streamer event. It feels like an org event because they have wider networks and are able to brute force themselves into servers, because it basically requires a friend on that server to get in, right? And this is really the biggest flaw of the event outside of some of the bugs that have happened, or the only flaw of the event. So it's like a good event, great idea, just maybe a little bit before its time. I don't see CIG stopping doing this, so it really doesn't make any sense for people to just lose their mind and complain about it, and just complain that it's streamers only getting it, when it's really just super organized people that are. And there's been some situations where solo people have gotten it as well, but it's rare because it's so hard to get into that server, right? On top of this, where I really take issue with things is, yeah, sure, CIG will do anything to keep the project in development, but this is another example where they sold something which could have been considered like a best-in-slot ship, like if you were going to compare it to some like armor in World of Warcraft, right? So I always ask, if we keep doing things like this, what are we going to play your game for? What will we be striving to earn in your game if we're just selling everything before we get to the release, right? So that's sort of where I take issue with a lot of the events and a lot of the ship sales and a lot of the things they do, is what are you going to keep players busy with? What are you going to entice players? What's going to be our progression? What's going to be the things that we strive for? I've been playing a lot of New World, and yeah, New World is a very flawed game, and it is not a perfect one, but at the very least, I do feel like every day I log in, I have something to progress towards, and it's a good feeling, right? Oh yeah, And the Halloween mask that we talked about last week, that mask event, that was, it's better than it's been, but it's doesn't even work since the F8C started. So keep an eye out on that. Hopefully they extend the event since they broke it. And then we had an F8C Q&A, and there isn't a ton here that we haven't already heard and beat to death on many like React videos, and you've heard it from other content creators, so I don't want to beat it too much. But basically the event wasn't exactly planned super far in advance, I don't think, and there's a lot of questions that get answered here that kind of shows that. And the one that sticks out to me is that the ship isn't even gold standard. So while being a major player in Squadron 42, so anyone who thinks that the release of Squadron 42 is happening anytime soon, think again, guys. Like, come on, it's just so obvious, right? And they also felt that it would be a shame to not sell the ship to us. What a shame. What a shame for us, right? And going back to what I said earlier, it's just like, what will we play the game for? It just seems like they're always willing to sacrifice what the game could be to keep the project in development, right? So it just doesn't, those two things don't translate and don't make sense to me in my brain. It just doesn't work. But again, you will still earn access to it by playing Squadron 42 if you don't want to spend the money or you don't get a platinum ticket. So no big deal there, right? So a bit of a slow week outside of CitizenCon. And again, this week we are going to be covering CitizenCon live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. And once again, I will be joined by Levelcap Gaming, and he will be live streaming it on his YouTube channel, bringing you all sorts of coverage, and I cannot wait to see you guys there. And I will also be breaking down my reactions to each panel for the React channel, so keep a close eye on all my channels for those details. And that'll do it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Next week is gonna be a doozy.